This is The Speaking Show. I'm David Newman, and you're tuned in to the #1 podcast for speakers, consultants, and experts who want to speak more profitably. Well, do I have the right guy for the right time? Coaching guru, Mr. Rob Goyette. Welcome to The Speaking Show.
Hey, thanks so much, David. I really appreciate you having me here.
So you help coaches, consultants, speakers, trainers, what we lovingly call thought-leading professionals, install a really profitable, really fast coaching model in their business. And I want you to talk about that in a moment, but give us a little bit of the professional journey, Rob, that you have taken to get to where you are today. And we'll use that as the springboard for your superpower that we'll share with everyone.
Sure. So some people have heard of Christian Michaelson. He's a leader in the coaching industry. And I was actually friends with Christian before he, quote unquote, made it big. And as he was building his business, he started to share some of his success with me. And I said, hey, could I join your team? And so from 2007 to 2014, I was on Christian Michelson's team. And I got to be his JV manager and help with marketing and come up with ideas and also meet a lot of his joint venture partners. So I really got plugged into the coaching industry. And in 2014, I decided to see if I could build my own quote unquote business, meaning grow my own list and make offers. And so it was really successful. It grew to a 6-figure business really quickly as I supported coaches. I started off teaching them automated webinars. And I still do that, but I did come up with a new coaching model along the way, and that's what I'm best known for.
And then just backing up half a step, because I know a lot of folks listening have done some form of coaching, very labor intensive, very time intensive, where they'll take on a one-on-one person, have hour-long sessions 3-4 times a month, fill up their calendar literally, so it looks like they're playing a game of Tetris, with block after block after block after block. And this is what they've always hoped for, right? This is what they dream of. Oh, I'd love to have a full calendar. And then they get a full calendar and they're like, holy smokes, what did I sign myself up for? And they can't go to the bathroom, let alone have a life and, write books or give speeches or even leave the office because they're always glued to a headset or a computer screen. So the model that when you were working in collaboration with the bigger team, with Christian, was he teaching people how to do that kind of one-on-one, fill your coaching practice? That was the main thrust of how Christian would sign, his clients would want to sign up one-on-one clients, correct?
Yeah, his flagship product is something called Free Sessions That Sell, and it teaches client enrollment. So yeah, he has a client enrollment system. And his coaching model, it seems pretty standard as far as the length of time. These coaching sessions, I call them marathons. They can feel like they go on for a long time.
And it's so funny, and I can't wait to get into your new model, but knowing what it is, I will tell you what frustrates the living daylights out of me. For 10 years, all I did was one-on-one coaching and then some training and speaking. So my one-on-one clients, we'd blocked an hour because I was crazy. We blocked an hour. And some people, if we got to their answer in 20 or 25 minutes, they would say, David, this was great. Thanks. Talk next time. Hang up the phone. Other people, Rob, they'd be on the phone. They're at 25 minutes. They got more than they could ever possibly handle from me in that 25 minutes. And then they literally said the following words. Well, David, we got 35 minutes left. Let's see. What else can I ask you? And then they go off into some tangent, or they confuse themselves, or they overthink, or they overwhelm. And literally, even at 57 minutes, I would have clients that go, well, we got 3 minutes left. What else should I be doing? It's like, dude, this call ended 23 minutes ago, and you and I just both didn't recognize that fact. So talk about your model, which is so exciting and so cool. And I think this is really the future of coaching.
So yeah, and I can totally identify with that. I was actually selling 2-hour coaching sessions, and I was coaching a lot of Christian's peers, right? So a lot of these leaders in the coaching industry would hire me to coach them. And I noticed that really, if we just cut right down to it, we could get it all done very quickly. And so Unlike in your situation where you get the work done and then there'd be time after, I found a bunch of wasted time before, a bunch of like, how you doing? Oh, let's talk about the weather and let's talk about all this other stuff. Maybe they were procrastinating a little bit. I don't know. And those marathon calls would take so much out of me. It's like at the end of the call, I was ready to call it a day. And so I started thinking, I wonder if it would be possible to somehow coach in less time. And I also wonder if there was a way to make the coaching more affordable. Like at $3,000 a month, those clients, they're not everywhere, right? It can be kind of challenging to find them. And they're great when you find them. But sometimes people want to work with us and they just can't afford our high-end coaching rates. So I thought, well, I wonder if I could come up with a program that would be much lower priced and feel abundant to the client and also cut right to the chase and not waste all this extra time, but just do it in 15-minute coaching sessions. So I packaged up a model, and we can go into detail about how it works and why it works. But essentially, it was a year of unlimited coaching with Rob for $997, which breaks out to less than $84 a month for the client. And when I made that offer to my audience, within the first year, I had over 50 one-on-one clients. And because they were in 15-minute sessions, and I would block off an extra 15 to use the bathroom or take that break, but because they were in such short sessions, I was able to support 50 people at a time with this model. And the clients love it. It's funny. I didn't know how well it would be received, but the clients love it, and I loved it. My wife was very concerned about me giving away a year of unlimited 15-minute coaching sessions. But what turned out, David, is that the average client has somewhere between 7 and 8 sessions over the course of the year. And we wonder, well, why? If they have a year with you, why wouldn't they use it? And it's probably the same psychology of when people join a gym in January. Somewhere around September, October, they're not working out as much as they thought they would. That's the human nature of it. And so I found it was true in my business, and it's been true for a lot of the people that I've shared this model with, that clients end up having about 7 or 8 sessions with the coach. Therefore, if you're getting paid $1,000 for a year of coaching, and let's say you're having 8 15-minute sessions, and it's not quite like that, the model's a tiny bit different, but let's just use simple math. You're making about $500 an hour for your time, because 8 sessions would be 2 hours, so $1,000 for 2 hours. So it's a nice ROI model for the coach. And the clients love it because it's kind of like an all-you-can-eat buffet with the coach, right?
Now, let's dig a little bit deeper into this. And I've got a whole bunch of questions, but I'm sure there's other things that you want to share just about the model overall. Is this what I call a defined outcome type of coaching? So, for example, I only work with, psychologists who want to double their practice. And this is my just for psychologists. Double your practice in 12 months. Sign up with me using your structure, your model, 15-minute laser coaching, fairly low price, knowing that there's going to be some attrition and knowing that human beings don't show up at the gym when they buy the gym. Or is it not a defined outcome program? And it's more like, hey, you know what I'm good at. You've got a niche. You've got sort of a focus area. One day you want to talk about revenue growth? Sure. Next day you want to talk about hiring? Sure. The next time you want to talk about a problem employee? Happy to help. Is it more like omnibus kind of coaching, or is it specific outcome based that you recommend?
So that's a great question. No one's ever asked me that before. And I'll tell you that it started out as the omnibus. I would just show up and say, how can I support you on the call today? Right. And so I would do it that way. But over time, I realized that it really makes a lot of sense to have a results model that you can walk people through and say, look, if you want to get these results, the first thing we need is clarity. And that's what our first coaching session is about. And the next step is to do this. And the next step is to do that. So by having a results model, it helps you and the client both be clear on what your journey is together. So I actually prefer that now, but I can tell you it works the other way to just show up and say, what can I support you with? Now, I will say that one feature of the coaching model is that you and the client agree on homework on each session, and the client must do that homework before signing up for their next call. So on that call, whether you're doing the omnibus and just what do they want today, or whether it's structured, you need to give the client an assignment to do so that the client can make progress. Really, you can think of these laser calls as being check-in calls where the client is making the actual progress between the calls and then checking in with the coach for the next steps. That makes a lot of sense to a lot of people that think, how can you possibly coach within 15 minutes? Well, the progress is actually made between the calls.
Yeah, really great insight for sure. Even when it was the old school kind of coaching, right? What we would say is, okay, you and I will talk for an hour. And even as I say that, that sounds more and more ridiculous given your model. But we'll talk for an hour, and the real work happens in the other 167 hours between now and next week. So that transformation doesn't happen when you're on the phone with the coach. The transformation happens when you do the work that the coach is recommending. Hey, good looking. Are you currently getting paid to speak? Would you like to ramp that up? We can help. Book a confidential speaker strategy call with our team at doitmarketing.com/call, and let's see what we might do together. The call is free, but the results may be priceless. Now, this is where I think some coaches can get stuck because they're hearing this. I'm just channeling our audience. They're hearing this, Rob, and they go, oh, do I have to have like a curriculum? Do I have to have a whole bunch of worksheets and exercises and templates? And is it literally fill out this sheet or do this research and complete this document and then send it back to me? Is it like a college class then where I'm literally assigning homework, collecting the homework, assigning the homework, collecting the homework? Or is it more high-level strategic, quote-unquote homework that does not need a lot of templates, tools, worksheets, exercises, and so on?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be different for every coach. The way that I would do it, I would give the client homework and tell the client, you need to complete your homework before you schedule your next call. And then all they needed to do was tell me, I did my homework. Let's do our call. So I was not real strict about grading papers and having a syllabus and curriculum. Now, I do think if you have a results model, that might bring things in a little tighter, saying, okay, well, your first step is clarity. I want you to send me the clarity you have for how you'd like to get this result or why you want this result or, whatever the process is. So as far as creating things for clients to do, you can absolutely do that, or you can use existing resources, or you can have them go read a book, or you can have them listen to a podcast, or essentially you can have them do things that already exist. But if you find the need to create something, that's great because you can create it for the first client. You can say, you know what? Your homework is to fill out a worksheet that I have not created yet. So my homework is to create that worksheet and send it to you. You send it back, but then the coach has the worksheet for all the other clients in the future. And I've done that. I've created things and then used them with future clients when it was needed.
Now, having coached as long as you have coached, and even me having coached as long as I have coached, this is your security blanket. So if you're a coach listening to this, or you'd like to get into a coaching model or a highly scalable, highly profitable coaching model, the security blanket is love them or hate them, love this fact or hate this fact. Most clients will not do the homework and they will not do it on time. They will procrastinate. They will delay. They will hang their head in shame a little bit. And then we need to encourage them, not that we don't want them to do the homework, but the overwhelming force of human nature is it's going to be a good long time before they do some of the advanced homework and come back to you. So I can imagine, month one, laser call, homework, got it. By the fourth assignment, by the fourth step where we really have to start being brave, we really have to start getting into action, we really have to start implementing what you as the coach are sharing, you're like, Rob, you know what? Great, I'm going to do this. Let's hold off on scheduling the next call. Let me get back to you when I'm done with that. And then 3 weeks goes by and 4 weeks goes by. And then they do it. And they go, oh, I did it. And you celebrate and they celebrate. And then you do the next piece of homework, which is even harder than the first one. And then it might be a month or 5 weeks or 6 weeks. And again, this isn't a scheme. This isn't a gimmick. This is the natural cadence of any sort of coaching program where people don't want to do the good old-fashioned hard work. So people listening going, I can't fill my calendar with laser calls all day, every day, because you said you did 50. When you first launched this in your own business, you did 50. I'm imagining the first couple weeks of that initial period, you were a very busy camper. And then talk about some of the slowdown and some of the cadence that followed month after month after that.
I do want to address the homework does not need to get more and more difficult. Sometimes I'll have a client, we'll be on their fourth or fifth call or even their 10th call. We have to agree on it. So I'll say, if you want something easy, how about come up with a title for your free report? They'll do that and have another call. And it's okay to do that. Like with 50 clients, I got to experiment a lot. And so it's not a deliberate plan to trip up the client in any way. we really want them to get the best results. And if that means doing a short piece of homework, then have them do that. If that means doing a long piece of homework, then they can do that. And sometimes I'll say to the client, well, what we really want to do is we want to get your free report done. But that involves creating the title for the report, creating the outline, getting it done, ordering your report cover, all this stuff. How much homework would you like? And some of the aggressive clients will say, give me it all. And they'll have a long list of assignments, and that's fine. And usually it takes them a while to follow up and have their next call. Other clients will say, well, let me just come up with the title for now, or let me just come up with the title and the outline. So I've been really easygoing with it. Now, other coaches could be as strict as they like, saying this is the homework for call 1, and this is always the homework for call 2. So you can be as rigid as you like. As far as bringing on 50 clients and then being really busy and then the whole cadence thing, so I did not bring on all 50 at once. I recommend bringing on 8 clients at a time, between 8 and 10 clients. I've had students bring on as many as 25 clients at once or 33 clients within a month. And I think that's a few too many. That's going to keep you so busy that you might learn to hate laser coaching instead of loving it. And I tell you, the thing about laser coaching, I mentioned that those marathon calls would take a lot out of me and I was ready to call it a day. I noticed that at the end of the 15-minute sessions, I have more energy at the end of the call than I did at the beginning. So I find them very energizing. And I was working Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to noon and leaving that spot for clients. And at first it was full, but then it just started getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And then I had to tighten up my calendar even more to fit those calls into a smaller window so that I wasn't coaching as much. And then I'd bring on 8 new clients and maybe open it up a little bit more. But yeah, the average client has between 7 and 8 sessions. I've had clients who have just 1 session, and luckily, the client is happy with that. They say, Rob, I got more out of this 1 session with you than I did with a year with another coach because their homework was that good and what they got on the call was that helpful. So some clients have less than 7 sessions, some clients have more, but the average is between 7 and 8. But I want to mention something to you, David, and that's that coaches, as a rule, are pretty heart-centered and caring and high integrity. And some coaches have said to me, Rob, I thought I was going to use your model, but I don't want to fleece the clients. If I know they're not going to do their homework, this feels kind of like a setup. I think you may have mentioned like the word scam. Well, first of all, you can be as transparent with the clients as you like. You can say, listen, dear client, the reason that you're getting me for what works out to less than $84 a month is because the accountability is on you to do the homework. You can even say, we know the average client only has about 7 or 8 calls because of human nature, but I'd like to challenge you to really do the homework and use it as much as you like. So you can be as authentic and transparent with this as you wish, but be aware that a lot of clients will drop off after 7 or 8 calls. And the reason that I was pausing earlier was I wanted to make sure that I also said that the laser coaching lends itself really well to upselling clients into a higher end program. I can say, hey, David, it looks like you're not using the laser coaching as much as we thought you would. What if we took that $997 you spent with me and we apply it toward my higher end program or toward a VIP weekend or something like that? That way, it's like you got the laser coaching for free. And that allows the client to save face that they didn't use the laser coaching. And they also see it as a $1,000 discount on another program that you bought. So it can lend itself really well as an upsell. It can also really lend itself well as a downsell. You might have a strategy call with a client and use Christian Michelson's model and say, yeah, it's $500 a month or $1,000 a month to work with me for 6 months. And the client says, well, David, I'd love to work with you, but I can't afford $500 a month or $1,000 a month for 6 months. And you say, well, I do have this other program that works out to less than $84 a month for a year of unlimited 15-minute laser-focused coaching sessions with me. And that becomes an irresistible downsell. The other thing is that if you get really good at selling the laser coaching, and it is an irresistible offer, if the client understands it and trusts you, it's an irresistible offer. If you get really good at selling it, you can bring other coaches onto your team to do the coaching for you. So what I mean by this is you can pay a coach $100 an hour to coach your clients. And if we know that the average client has 7 or 8 sessions with us, that means you're paying this coach about $200 on a $1,000 sale. So you're keeping about $800. And what that does is it makes it scalable. So you can actually, I've got 2 coaches on my team right now, and I'm actually in the process of hiring more, because when it's scalable, you can bring on as many coaches as you like and have them work with as many clients. And this laser coaching offer is truly irresistible if the client trusts you and understands it.
Now, one thing that we did not mention, but I think is definitely a huge highlight of this, is the way in your course and in your mentoring program, when you teach people how to do this, There is no phone call required to sell this. Am I correct?
Yeah, it does not take a strategy session. Yeah. What's awesome about that is you've got the $1,000 in your pocket or in your bank before you even talk to the client. So it's pre-sold. They pay the money, and the guarantee period is that first call. And that first call is actually 30 minutes instead of 15. So you can get to know the client and understand what they'd like to get out of the coaching relationship. That's why I said it's not a perfect 8 calls times 15 minutes. The first call is actually 30 minutes to get to know the client better. So that's nice. And I know that it's over 75. I haven't actually counted the number of clients recently that I have, but let's just say out of 75 clients, I've only had one person refund on that first call. And everybody wants to know, well, what happened? But essentially, this is a client who what he wanted was way outside my area of expertise. I told him this, and he said, well, let's just have that call and see. So he sent me $1,000. We got on the call and realized, nope, this is not a good fit. So I sent his money right back to him. The funny thing is a year later, he said, let's try it again, sent me the $1,000 again. We got on a call and it still wasn't a fit. So I sent it back to him. I thought maybe things had changed. That's the only time that anyone has ever asked for their money back. And you might think, well, clients might say, well, I only use this 3 months out of the year, but they pay you up front. If you were charging monthly for this, they might stop paying after 3 months if they realize they weren't using it. So I call the model fast revenue coaching because it puts all the money in your bank account up front. So if you enroll 8 clients, there's $8,000 in your bank account. Yes, you do have the overhead of delivering it over the next year. But again, you're going to be busiest in that first month or two, and then you can add more clients as you wish. I would not use this model as my only business model, but it's a great way for clients who don't know you and trust you well enough yet to get to dip their toe in the water and start working with you for what works out to less than $84 a month. So It's really irresistible. And it's a lot of people are using it with a lot of success.
So the risk reversal is in that on the first call, if you don't think this is going to be a great fit, I'm happy to refund 100% of your investment.
Yep,
so
that's correct.
Safe guarantee. They know that if they don't like anything about what you've said or what they've asked on that call, that they're safe.
Yeah, I like to say if either one of us feels this is not exactly what you need to get the results you want.
What a great episode. Wowza. Tell you what, if you want to ramp up your revenue as an expert who speaks professionally, you should really check out our free online training at doitmarketing.com/webinar. Now, let's talk about the price point, because again, channeling our listeners, they're shivering in their boots because I know you sell things for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, and this is kind of the gateway drug, right? This is the entry level. People are thinking, Rob, this sounds great. I can make money with this today, tomorrow, this week. How am I not cannibalizing my $5,000 or $10,000 super duper coaching program that I've always sold and I've always been known for? And I have a whole bunch of people that I've had strategy calls with, and I've said, hey, it's $10,000. Now they see this thing for $1,000 and they go, what happened to Newman? Is he broke? Is he going out of business? Is this a fire sale? What's happening? So from a positioning standpoint and from a how will we not cannibalize our revenue standpoint, what are your thoughts there?
Okay, well, first of all, if you've got people who are considering paying you a whole bunch of money, you can shelter them from the offer. They still might hear about it, but you can, 80-20, you can shelter them from the offer. You don't have to send it to clients who are currently paying you $3,000 a month. So that's one thing. And I was kind of worried about that too, because I had some clients paying me multiple thousands of dollars a month. And I told them about it because I was excited. And they're like, no, I need more of your time. I need more of your attention. But you can also sort of head it off and say, this is for new people who are not where you are, or for people who really, they don't know me yet. It's a way for us to start working together before they upgrade to where you are now. So, if a current client or high-end prospect does reach out to you, you can say this is kind of more for the amateurs or whoever's less special than them. So that's something you can do there. And I told my clients about it. None of them wanted the laser coaching. So I was a little bit relieved because that other coaching money was kind of nice. So like I said, the laser coaching lends itself really well to an upsell. It's a way to get that first $1,000 from the client so that you can then upsell them into another program. My main high-end ticket item used to be VIP weekends, where I'd spend 3 days with a client and we just do everything together, setting up a marketing funnel for them. Yeah, so a lot of laser coaching clients would apply that $1,000 toward the upsell. So that worked really, really well. And then as far as like looking like, oh, now you're Walmart, it used to be Nordstrom's, now you're Walmart. I think a great way to do this and to position it is to say, I just recently learned about a new coaching model. And honestly, I'm not sure if I'm going to pursue this or not, but I'm going to try it out for just 8 people. And here's the deal. It's at an incredibly irresistible price. If you've been thinking about working with me for a while, this is a very low risk way to get started. I'm going to do it for 8 people. And whether or not I love the decision to do it, I'm going to stick with you. If you sign up with me, my promise to you is that I will stick with you for the whole year, however many coaching sessions you have. So you can kind of position it that, I heard about this new idea and I'd like to try it with a few people. That creates scarcity if there are only 8 spots available. That's probably what I'd recommend.
Now, you've been saying the whole time, $1,000, $997, because you've helped thousands of coaches and thousands of coaches have heard from you and been trained by you on this. I know some of them are going to argue with the doctor. They're going to say, Rob, $1,000, a great idea, but I'm thinking 1997. I'm thinking 2,500. Come on, 2,500. That's like 200 and change a month. I need to be 2,500 for a year. And even that, Rob, even that's too cheap. But I'm not doing 997. I'm going to try for 2,500. When they go against your advice, and I'm guessing this is pretty firm advice, what have you seen in clients' experience when they start to jack the price up beyond what you recommend?
First of all, David, you are so intelligent and insightful. I keep noticing that about you, but arguing with the doctor is a great metaphor. So I have had people, I've got a course that teaches this all, and they'll buy the course, and then they'll decide either they want to charge more money for the year or they only want to charge the $997 for 3 months. And so I'll tell you what happens when you charge $997 for 3 months. Clients use more sessions than they would in the year to make sure that they get their 3 months worth. It's like if you told a client they get 5 sessions for $1,000, they're going to use all 5 sessions. If you say 3 months, you're going to have a lot of coaching calls in those 3 months. Same with 6 months. A year seems to feel abundant to clients. And I've actually sold it for 2 years for twice the price and had about the same number of calls with clients. I somehow think selling a year at a time feels better, but I have sold it for $2,000 for 2 years and had about the same 7 to 8 calls per client over a 2-year period. I've thought about lifetime. I'm not ready to take that risk yet, but like the more abundant they feel, the less urgent they feel like they need to have their next call. So as far as like the duration, I think a year is perfect. And I know that that works. As far as the price, what sells anything is a combination of 2 factors. It's trust and an irresistible offer. So if the client trusts you and really believes that you can help them get the results, then now what they need is an irresistible offer. And what I found is that the hot button or the irresistible piece of the price is to phrase it as that it works out to less than $84 a month. If you're selling it for twice that much, now you're at $167 or whatever the math is. So I've just found that to be an irresistible price point. Now, I have had people argue with the doctor and succeed. So people have charged more, people have charged less. I've had people say, well, my niche, it's life coaching and I don't think people will pay that. And so they charge less. And of course, they get clients. I think they could have charged the $997. I can think of one person who charged $5,000 for the laser coaching. She bundled in a whole bunch of bonuses with it, and she sold 5. So it's possible to argue with the doctor and still survive. But if you're looking for something to use scalably, I think that $997 is a proven price point, and that's what I'm sticking with. However, I will say that my business has grown to the level where I don't want to do laser coaching anymore. That's why I've hired other coaches to do it. If people want laser coaching with me, now that is $5,000. And so there'll be a percentage of your audience that says, I want to work directly with David and I'm willing to pay 5 times as much. But I'd rather have 5 people work with a coach than 1 person work with me. So yeah, but you can argue with the doctor and be okay. But why argue with the doctor? At least starting out, make your own distinctions afterwards.
I love it. Absolutely right. Well, Rob, as we wrap up, I've got 2 final questions for you. The final question is, where can people get connected and stay connected to more Rob Goyette brilliance? But even before we get to that, if folks were to take one key idea about this laser coaching model and how this can be plugged in to an existing coaching, speaking, training, consulting business of any kind, really, what do you hope that one central idea around this amazing laser coaching model, what would you like that final thought to be?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's the model itself is that An example of an irresistible offer is a year of unlimited 15-minute laser-focused sessions where you and the client agree on homework before they can schedule their next session. That is irresistible to clients. And again, the ROI for the coach is about $500 an hour, so it's lucrative. So I would just say the model itself is probably the takeaway. And then as far as where people can go, I'll give them two options. I don't want to give 15 options, but one option could be to read my free report, which actually has 4 different coaching models that I use. There's some cool stuff in there. And then the other is, if you're really interested in the laser coaching most of all, I've got a webinar that explains it in a more orderly fashion and teaches the model really, really well. So if you're interested in the other coaching models, one of the 4 is laser coaching, but that URL is innovativecoachingmodels.com. Are you going to put that on a page somewhere, David?
Yeah, it's going to be right under the show notes. When people go to this episode at thespeakingshow.com, we're going to connect all of Rob's goodies and report and webinar, but let's just tell them where to go, and then they can see where to go when they hit the show notes.
So again, that first link is innovativecoachingmodels, plural, models.com. If you want to learn the laser coaching through a webinar, I've got a short 26-minute webinar, and it's at fastrevenuecoaching.com. So fastrevenuecoaching.com.
Awesome. Well, Rob Goyette, thank you for sharing your wisdom, anything and everything that helps our listeners monetize their expertise, especially in this very clever, very innovative, very scalable way, is always hugely appreciated. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me, David. I've enjoyed being here. And again, I really appreciate your intelligence and your insight. Arguing with the doctor was brilliant. You're just a pleasure to talk to. Thanks for having me.
Feel free to borrow that arguing with the doctor thing. That's my gift to you. Go ahead and use it.
I will, if that's okay. It's a great metaphor, so thank you.
Well, that wraps up another episode of The Speaking Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on iTunes. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thespeakingshow.com. See you next time.